So welcome everyone to this evening's conference where we are talking about media and entertainment, talking about movies and TV series. Please note that tonight is part 1 of the conference, and on Monday night we will have part 2. So this evening's conference is for levels A1 to A2. Please feel free to take notes, to write your questions or comments on a piece of paper, and to share them with us after the 25-minute presentation. As you know, we take the first 25 minutes to do the presentation, and the last 5 minutes we have a question and answer. So let's begin. Tonight's part 1, we will talk about movie genres and vocabulary. For the second part of tonight's conference, we will talk about TV series. And for the third part, we will be discussing movies, so key phrases. As I said before, please have a pen and notebook ready to write down any new vocabulary and expressions. So if you want to be here for part 2 of this conference, you can be here on Monday at 6 p.m. with me. So let's get going. Movie genres and vocabulary. What genres are there to talk about movies? Was the last movie you saw action or romantic, a romantic comedy, or a different genre? Notice how we pronounce genre differently in English. So en français on dit genre, but in English we say genre. So what are the different kinds of movies that we have? We first have action. These are movies made with fighting, chasing, arguing, and violence in general. For example, Indiana Jones, Lethal Weapon. Animated or cartoon. So these are movies that are drawn and made into cartoons. For example, Finding Nemo, Beauty and the Beast. There are many examples. You then have comedy. Comedy, these are movies that make you laugh. For example, The Hangover. You could also have a documentary, which are movies made to inform you about a specific issue using interviews, facts, and other journalistic techniques. For example, 13th. You also have drama. These are movies that are serious, sad, and that are usually about a specific issue or romance, such as Good Will Hunting. You could also find something more historical, which is usually dramatic. These movies are made to show a specific time period, which is, for example, Hurt Locker. For historical, we often get time references, and they are generally accurate based on the history. Not always, but most of the time. Or horror. Horror, these are movies that are scary and what we call gory. Gory are movies that are filled with blood and violence. For example, Saw. You could then get what we call an independent film or an indie film. These are movies that were not made by big Hollywood studios or are more artistic in terms of their theme and their visuals. For example, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. We often see many of these films premiere at the Cannes Film Festival, where they are not really big studios that produce these films. You then get a thriller. Now, these movies are like horror movies, but they are more psychologically scary. For example, Seven. You can have a romantic comedy, sometimes referred to as a rom-com. And these are movies about romance that are made to be fun and light-hearted or not very serious. For example, Valentine's Day. Science fiction, or better known as sci-fi, this genre is usually set in the future and has characters who are extraterrestrials or aliens, such as Star Wars. We also get the sci-fi that talks about space. For example, Interstellar, a very good movie. So to recap, when we are looking at the main film genres, we are looking at comedy, history, sci-fi, romance, thriller, action, horror, war, which war we could put into the history category, but it can be something different. Musical, detective, biography, fantasy, drama, mystery, sport, and a western. When you watch a movie in English, knowing the key words of storytelling can make a world of difference. These elements are the building blocks of every story. So when we watch a movie, we have the plot, which is the sequence of events in a story. We then talk about the setting. So this is the time and place of the story. We then always talk about there's a conflict. So this is the challenge that the main character must overcome. We then have the resolution, which is the solution to the conflict, and the theme. What is the underlying message or big idea? When we have a flashback, this speaks of a scene that takes place before the current time in the story. The climax, that is the turning point or the most intense moment of the story. Something that is important in our movies is the character development. So the change a character undergoes throughout the story. The narrative. The narrative is the way the story is told. So we often look for different parts in a movie. For example, when we are talking about historical drama movies, you often find things such as a monastery or slaves or dramas from war, things that are ancient like castles, monarchs, priests. And then when we're looking at drama movies, you talk about, it could be a political drama, a historical drama, a tragedy. So now we have looked at movies. Let's talk a little bit about TV series. One of the most popular ways of relaxing at the end of each day is to watch television. We can watch the news or a reality TV show, or we can watch our favorite sports or a movie. But the kind of show that many people enjoy watching, the most is called a series. This is the kind of show that tells a story over many episodes, like Game of Thrones. So let's look at some of the vocabulary we use when we speak about a series. We talk about an episode, one part of a TV series, usually between 30 to 60 minutes long. Reality TV, a form of television in which members of the public are shown in competitive situations. A season. A season is a set of related episodes shown over one single period of weeks or months. And then a series, it's a television show that tells a story over many episodes or seasons. The best series I've seen recently is called Top of the Lake, to give us an example. A show. So a show is a program or television on television or radio. So did you watch that show on the BBC last night about the history of India? A sitcom or a situation comedy is a TV series about a group of people who keep getting into comical situations. For example, Julie's all-time favorite sitcoms are The Big Bang Theory and Modern Family. Here are our top 4 series recommendations and our reasons why. We will show you how to describe each one to a friend. You can use the expressions to describe other series too. So at number 4, we look at The Big Bang Theory. So The Big Bang Theory. This is a series about a group of nerdy friends who love science, comic books, and video games. Why it is good for learning English is because the dialogue is simple and you can hear different accents and expressions. The funniest character is Sheldon because he is sarcastic and very unique. I like it because it makes me laugh and I learn interesting facts about science. Our third on the list would be Sherlock Holmes, which is a British series. This series is about a brilliant detective, Sherlock Holmes, and his friend, Dr. Watson, who solve difficult mysteries in London. It's good for learning English because it uses clear pronunciation and interesting vocabulary related to crime and mystery. My favorite character is Sherlock Holmes because he is smart and solves every problem. I love it because the mysteries are exciting and the stories always keep me guessing. Number 2 on the series list would be Downton Abbey. It's a British series and it is about the lives of a rich family and their servants in England during the early 20th century. It's great for learning English because you can hear formal British English and historical language. I'm a big fan of Anna because she is kind and always helps others. I enjoy it because it's very emotional and shows a different time in history. And number 1 on the list would be Stranger Things, which is a series from the USA. This is a mystery and sci-fi series about a group of kids who discover a secret world called the Upside Down. It's useful for learning English because the kids use everyday language that is easy to follow. The best character is 11 because she is brave and has cool powers. I adore it because it's full of adventure and surprises. So remember that on your journey to learning English, you could prefer certain accents over others. Some people might find the British accent easier to understand, and some people might find the American accent easier to understand. And that's okay. You just need to look for a series that helps you better understand and that you are comfortable with. So whether it is a series from the USA or a series from the UK, it is important to find one that you enjoy. On the next topic, we are looking at discussing movies. What are the key phrases to discussing movies? Let's take a look at how we can discuss movies with our family and our friends. Conversation ideas could be, what is your favorite movie? Who is your favorite movie character or actor? What movies make you happy? And can you name a famous movie? So we are going to take 1 minute for everyone to answer one of these questions in the chat. So either tell me, what is your favorite movie? Who is your favorite movie actor? What movies make you happy? And can you name a famous movie? So Raymond says, The Game for his famous movie. Well done. Thank you, Raymond, for sharing. Who else? So I can tell you that the movies that make me happy are either animations or comedies, excuse me. So Eric says his favorite movie is The Godfather. Good choice. And then, okay, my favorite movie is Bridget Jones. So thank you, Sophie, for sharing. Bridget Jones is a great, great movie. And Raymond says his favorite actor is Philip Seymour Hoffman. Thank you for sharing. Christoph, do you have any favorites that you would like to share with us? You can put it. Christoph says, my favorite movie is Gladiator 2. It's a fast-paced movie. One of the most moments in the film occurs when the Colosseum is filled with water. Christoph, thank you for sharing. I'm quite excited to watch this movie. So I'm going to look out for that moment in the movie. It's also very riveting. Beautiful. Eric says Clint Eastwood and Kevin Costner. Also, absolutely great actors. So thank you everyone for sharing your thoughts with me. So movie themes. These recurring themes and elements can help you predict and understand the narrative twists and turns when watching an English language movie. For example, something can be a tear-jerker. That means it's a drama designed to make you cry. Or you have movies where there are love triangles. This is a romantic conflict between 3 characters. You also have movies where there is a false accusation. So a character is wrongly accused of a crime. And in this movie, he spends time trying to prove his innocence. And then we have what we call the reveal, which is a movie that has a significant plot twist. As you continue your English language journey, learning the vocabulary of the characters can enhance your comprehension of the dynamics in a movie. For example, the hero. This is the main character, often facing challenges. The mentor, that is the guide or the teacher to the hero. The outcast, this is a character who is not accepted by society. The sidekick, a supportive character to the hero. The villain, the character who opposes the hero. The damsel in distress, a female character who needs to be rescued. So what are some conversation ideas we could have? We could ask, how often do you watch movies? Can you describe your favorite movie character? Do you watch movies in English? What do you eat when watching movies? And do you prefer comedy or action movies? So as we did before, please answer one question for me in the chat so that I may share it with everyone else. Give me your thoughts. So for me, I choose question 4. What do you eat when watching movies? I love snacks. So my favorite snack would be a chocolate and some popcorn or some crisp. Raymond says he watches about 5 movies per week. Wonderful, Raymond. Who else would like to share their thoughts? Christoph, he watches movies every day. My favorite character is Mr. Carson in Downton Abbey. I love to eat popcorn and I prefer action movies. Thank you so much, Christoph, for such an in-depth answer. It shows a great understanding of the movie vocabulary and culture. Thank you so much. How about you, Sophie? And Eric, would you like to share? So Sophie says, yes, I watch English movies. Thank you so much. And Eric, what about you? So Sophie says, I watch English movies with French subtitles. Perfect. And Eric says, I watch 5 movies per week. Wonderful. So now these are some great questions when we want to create some conversation. So types of movies. These words pop up from time to time and can change someone's description of the movie. For example, you might hear, the film was a remake of the original 1960 movie, but I liked it much better. Sequel, the second part of a pair of movies or a movie that continues the same story as another movie that came before it. For example, Spider-Man 2 and Toy Story 2. A trilogy. This is a series of movies with 3 parts. For example, The Lord of the Rings. A new release. These are movies that are showing in movie theaters right now. And as we saw before, remakes, notice the prefix re, which means again. And the verb make, literally this word means to make again. These are movies that have been made before and are recreated, but with some updates. Many movies nowadays are remakes. For example, The Magnificent Seven. So a conversation example of an invitation to the cinema could be, what are you doing this weekend? I'm going to the movies with a friend. How about you? I'm not sure yet. Well, did you want to go see a movie with me? What movie are you going to see? I'm not sure yet. Is there something you want to see? There's nothing I can think of. So did you want to go? No thanks. Maybe another time. Okay, sounds good. In conclusion, review the terminology. the phrases and the questions that we have seen today. Then you will be able to understand a conversation with English speakers with ease. A top tip: practice the questions with a friend, family member, or your children, so that it will help you to remember the vocabulary in the future. So, good luck. Thank you for watching this conference with me or joining me for this conference. My absolute pleasure. So, do you have any questions or comments that you would like to make on this evening's conference? If so, you can unmute your microphone. It's all good? So that's wonderful. As I said, there is part 2 that will be on Monday at 6 p.m. with myself. So please do join me as we learn more about movies and television series. So thank you everyone for joining me, and I will see you on Monday. Have a beautiful weekend.